And we're live. Hey there, guys. This is Nikki Jones from Lifestyle Alchemy. And this is the pre-workshop live rebroadcast of the Shadows into Light Shadow Work with Archetypes workshop, pre-preparation and information. I'm redoing this one as last week's one didn't come out very clear on the replay. My slides didn't come out, so I've worked through those technical issues, and I'm hoping this time that it will come through. I hope that you guys can hear me, and we're just going to jump straight back in. Gabrielle.
Hey.
Hello, how are you, Gabs?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah,
I wanted to jump on. Yeah, I only have like a couple of minutes, so I just wanted to say a little piece and then jump off if that's possible.
Sure, no, not a problem. So part of the preparation for the webinar has a lot to do with diet. So I'm going to get Gabrielle to jump out now, and she's going to go into that with you guys a little bit more. So thanks, Gabrielle.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, so thank you. My name's Gabrielle Morrison from Glowing with Health. I am an international coach and mentor. I do inspirational health speaking engagements and run workshops. And sorry if it's a bit noisy. There's a big truck going past. Most of all, I work one-on-one with my clients around their health goals and improving their intuition with their bodies. Nikki's running this amazing program, which we had a discussion about before, like when you're about to embark on these transformation events in your life, it's really good to start cleansing out your system and removing those energies and in your body that aren't going to serve you. I've been thinking about that, and I'll just give you an example. Thinking about where your food's coming from and the energy that it brings with it before you have consumed that food. So, for example, animals, you know, where were they? Where did they grow? What did they eat? How did they go through their process, their life process before they came to your plate? And we probably don't think about this, but all that animal has gone through is going to come. You're putting that into your body. So a great way to, I know with Nikki, with this particular workshop, it's about really removing that energy of the meat. And I've put together something for you guys to use to help with that, and not only meat, but just thinking about where your food comes from. For example, you might take a takeaway on a Friday evening. You don't want to cook, but what's that person who has created that meal? What have they been doing that day? Have they had an argument with their wife or husband? What's going on for them? Their energy is going into your food too. So really be mindful about what's happening before that food gets to your plate. The most loving and caring ways to be like growing your own food. Like obviously that's ideal, and we all can't do that, but it's just about starting to be mindful. I'm sorry that I'm having to be quick here, but I'm in the middle of a course over in Byron, and I really wanted to just jump on just to support Nikki in what she's doing and share a few things with you guys that I would like to offer you as part of your journey. And so each person that signs up for this course with Nikki will actually receive a complimentary 3-day cleanse, which is a juice or smoothie cleanse depending where you're at. I think one of these packages has already gone already from the last webinar, and that was for a 12-day cleanse. So this is for those of you that really want to get serious and start changing your health. There is meat options in this cleanse because it was kind of tailored to different options, but for you guys, I'd say take the challenge. Remove the meat for that 14 days, or I think it's 12 days, sorry, and see how that makes you feel. My passion and what I'm working with my clients is to start to learn to listen to your intuition and listen to what your body really needs. And that's a way to start doing that. Sorry, I feel like I'm really rushing. Another thing I really want to offer you guys is the opportunity to actually have a one-on-one session with me. So anyone that joins Nikki's program will get a 30-minute complimentary session to go through your health. We could talk about the cleanse or anything else that's coming up for you. And I'm open to whatever's coming up for you and to give you some steps on your journey. So that's a really beautiful thing to start nurturing and looking after yourself. When we start removing the toxins and the things in the body that aren't serving us, that's when we get a chance to really feel what our body needs, and that's really where I'm at. And it will really support you on your journey with Nikki's course and beyond. So thank you. Thank you, beautiful.
No worries. Thank you so much for jumping on. I know Gabrielle is actually doing an amazing course in Byron Bay at the moment. So yeah, so she's in a bit of a rush. So we just put her ahead of schedule today, but at least we've got those wonderful offers out there. And you guys, if you want to pick up on that, there's a comment section below, and just put in your comments there. If you have any questions for myself or Gabrielle during the webinar, please put in any comments. And yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'll have those links to give to you guys as well in regards to Gabrielle's offers. The 30-minute one-on-one, the 3-day cleanse, which is all free for those who wish to take up on it, and also the 12-day cleanse, which is for the first 3 people that enter the course. So again, one of those has already been taken up, so there's only 2 left. So make sure you get onto the message, we'll get it done that way. So thanks for joining me, Gabrielle. I hope you have a wonderful day on your course, and
I will.
I can't wait to hear what you've learned.
Absolutely, I can't wait to share it. And if there's any questions, I'll come back later and have a look and see if I can answer any of those for you too.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Gabrielle.
Blessings to you, beautiful. Keep shining your beautiful light. Take care.
You too. Bye, hon. All right, guys. So let's get on to the slides here. I had issues with this on the last live webinar that I did. I think I've actually solved that now. One thing that I will ask is that if you're watching the replay and the slides don't seem to be coming through for you, there's a settings area in the YouTube little box, and if you go into the settings and go to the HD view, that way your slides are going to come up a lot better. I had mine on auto and they were just blurry and unlegible, so if you want to be able to read the slides, then just make sure your settings are on HD, 720 HD. Okay, so welcome to the pre-workshop webinar, preparation and information leading up to Lifestyle Alchemy's free online course, Shadow Work of Archetypes. I'm just going to the content here. Now the content's a little bit out of order at the moment because we had to put Gabrielle on because she's got such a busy day ahead of her. But what we're going to be going through is what is shadow work, what are archetypes, why they work so well together, the importance of preparation before the course, mindset exercises, the importance of your diet before the course, special guest Gabrielle Morrison, which we've already had on, which is awesome. Announcement and date of time of the free online course, Shadow Work of Archetypes, Shadows into Light, and then we'll have a Q&A section. Okay. So what is shadow work? The shadow is a part of ourselves that we may try to hide or deny. According to Carl Jung, it can be said to consist of energy patterns known as selves or subpersonalities that we disowned and pushed down into our subconscious, unconscious into childhood as part of our coping strategies. I'm just going to put my glasses on, I always forget. Your shadow is that part of you that is unconscious and therefore hidden from your awareness. The unconscious is filled with all kinds of things that you have judged as being unacceptable about you. Shadow work is nothing more than making the unconscious conscious, the unacceptable acceptable, and bring dark into the light. So why do shadow work? The goal of working with the shadow is to integrate and to come to know and accept all of the parts that we have attempted to push away or hide from, to find the light of our shadow and make that which has been working on the unconscious level conscious. Some may not be aware that these aspects even exist. This work is instinctive and it asks you to follow your own soul's calling and inward response. Through shadow work, you are able to slowly include all of the many subconscious aspects, to be loving and kind to that which was previously rejected. This eventually allows us to be more compassionate to both ourselves and to others. It allows us to change our views, perspectives, and beliefs. It allows us to embrace our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. When we work with the shadow, we begin to reclaim the projections we put on others. We turn inward and begin to gently listen and heal those aspects within ourselves instead. So what I want to do here is I want to go a little bit further into an explanation for shadow work, just to give you an idea of the term shadow work and let you know that it stays away from within light work because of the harsh sounding nature of shadow work. It's very doom and gloom sort of sounding, I guess, to a lot of people. So this is a lot of information I've gotten from one of my mentors, Till Swan. So I'm just going to sort of go over what I remember from that. So for a lot of people, the term shadow work, as we've been saying, conjures up all kinds of negative and dark associations. And because of those associations, it's easy to think that shadow work is a dark spiritual practice and that it's internal work that involves the more negative and sinister aspects of our personality. Actually, in truth, neither is the case. So what exactly is shadow work? We are born whole, but the wholeness is short-lived because we are relationally dependent. So being born relationally dependent into our families that socialize us into a society that is not fully evolved yet. That's sort of big trouble because it causes us to learn that some aspects of ourselves are acceptable and others not. What is acceptable versus unacceptable depends on the perspective of the families you've been born into. So the aspects of us that are seen as unacceptable, both positive and negative, are rejected by our families, and the aspects that are seen accepted are not seen as acceptable or not. So being relationally dependent in the name of survival, we do anything we can to disown and deny and suppress those aspects in ourselves that are disapproved of, whilst exaggerating those that are approved of. We dissociate from what we disapprove of. So this creates a split within the person that we call conscious and subconscious. The self-preservation instinct of dividing ourselves into conscious and subconscious is in fact our first act of self-projection, where our self comes from. The revolutionary psychologist Carl Jung, actually when he was studying with Freud, observed the fact that there were parts of his patients that they themselves were aware of, and to the contrary, that parts of themselves that themselves were unaware of. Consciousness has long been referred to as light. To become conscious of something is to be able to see it in the same way that we see something that is exposed to light. When something is unconscious, we cannot see it. It is, if we're trying to see it in the unconscious aspects within a person that they themselves are unaware of or could not see as a shadow. So the human shadow is an aspect of a person that is not exposed to the light of consciousness. The reason that the human shadow contains mostly negative things is because we tend to reject or deny or suppress or disown the least desirable aspects of our personality. For example, we are more likely to suppress something like jealousy than to suppress a talent we have. But the most common misconception about the human shadow is that it contains only negative things, when in fact the human shadow often contains disowned or rejected aspects of a person that is actually truly positive. This is especially true for people who struggle with this, with shame and low self-esteem, those sort of issues. So I'll give you an example of how positive can end up in the human shadow. So for example, let's say that a little girl is born with a definite sense of self. She's confident and asserts her opinion. Now let's say she's born into a family that thinks that little girls need to be obedient, sweet and quiet, the old sort of school type of thinking. So those aspects of her that are confident and assertive will be rejected by her family. So for the sake of survival in the social group, she will also begin to reject those things in herself. She will deny that aspect of herself in order to get loved, to the degree that as an adult, she was, should be, in order to get loved, to the degree that as an adult, she will most likely be sweet, quiet and obedient. Her life will be painful because she has exiled part of herself. She is divided. As an adult, she may work with someone to discover what feelings or beliefs or memories are part of her subconscious and discover that she is in fact confident and assertive. When she reowns that aspect of herself, she will have the confidence to create a life that feels good and assert herself to those around her instead of remaining obedient to those around her. So I'll give you an example of how negative ends up as part of a human shadow. Let's say a child is born into a family where anger is not okay to emotion to express. When the child gets angry, that anger is subconscious. As an adult, he will most likely not have any awareness that he has any anger in him at all. He will not and cannot see himself clearly because he has denied that aspect of himself. So when people tell him that he's angry, he will not be able to relate to that at all. In fact, he will probably only relate to himself as being easygoing. If he works with someone to discover the feelings and beliefs and memories that are part of his subconscious, he may discover that he is really angry, and that anger has been coming out all along in passive-aggressive ways and hurting the people around him. If he addresses the anger directly, his relationships will become much more enjoyable. So I'm sure we've all known passive-aggressive people before, and so you know that that passive-aggressive is coming from dealt with issues of anger within the childhood. So when we deny, suppress, or disown something, it doesn't disappear. It just fades from our awareness. This is the reason why we do so many things that we feel out of control of, and this is why we feel so many things that don't know why, and that it is why we do so many things without knowing why we are doing them. To acknowledge whatever we have suppressed or denied or disowned into the subconscious brings up the same fear of rejection that we met with the first time around by our parents and caregivers, and so it makes us feel like we are going to be exiled or punished again of our survival mechanisms, and then makes us feel like we're quite literally going to die. So it's no wonder self-awareness isn't so easy to attain. Every human in existence that was ever socialized, which is pretty much everyone, went through the process of splitting themselves into parts that we own and parts that are disowned. The self-rejection is the birth of self-hate. The emptiness that we feel is the result of those missing, rejected, or disowned parts of ourselves. And the soul wants one thing, and that's to make us whole again. We'll be provided with every single opportunity in life to become whole again and to make the subconscious conscious. But in order to become whole again, we need to see and accept the aspects of ourselves that we disowned and denied and rejected. And so this is what self-awareness does not come naturally to those who make a practice of avoiding pain. And that's because to become aware of those aspects, you must stop trying to escape the pain and emptiness within you. When there are those missing parts should be. But it's also the key to being a consciously aware and free life. So a little pain for a lot of freedom is kind of how I see it. And when I say pain, it can be emotionally turmoil for you. It can be emotionally turmoil for you, but done it in this way, it's the most gentlest way that I know that you can sort of go through shadow works and confront these parts of your subconscious mind that you've pushed down for so long. So in just a little summary of this, shadow work is now a term used often in spiritual and psychological circles to describe any process of which there are thousands that make the subconscious conscious. The more aware you are of your shadow, the more embodied you are as a conscious being. And no one ever reached enlightenment without confronting the shadow and exposing it to the light of consciousness. All of the great gurus and masters have been through this process before. So ultimately, shadow work is bringing attention and love to those things that have been previously rejected. And so if you ask me, shadow work is in fact the highest form of light work you can actually do. Okay, so I'll go back to my screen sharing. Okay, I hope you guys can all see that. Sweet. So we just went through the why do shadow work. So what are archetypes? Archetypes are your energy guide to your full potential. Archetypes are highly developed elements of the collective unconscious being unconscious. Being unconscious, the existence of archetypes can only be discovered indirectly by examining behavior, images, art, myths, religion, or even dreams. Carl Jung understood archetypes as universal, archaic patterns and images that derive from the collective unconscious and are the psychic counterpart of the instinct. They are inherited potentials which are actualized when they enter consciousness as images or manifest in behaviors or interactions with the outside world. They are autonomous and hidden forms which are transformed once they enter consciousness and are given particular expressions by individuals and their culture. Examples of archetypes. So for this, pardon me, for this example, I've used the example of the alchemist, which can also be lumped into the family of the wizard, magician, scientist, inventor, and also the visionary. These archetypes share the common trait of converting some form of matter into an altered expression of itself. The wizard and magician produce results outside the ordinary rules of life, whether causing people to fall in love or objects to disappear, whereas the wizard is associated with supernatural powers. The magician tends to be seen more as an entertainer, and the alchemist is associated with vain attempts to turn base metals into gold. But in its highest manifestation, it seeks complete spiritual transformation. So people may identify with this archetype if they are interested in a path of spiritual development that is aligned to the mystery schools or study of the law of the universe, the laws of the universe, which there are quite many of. But many of you will be familiar with the law of attraction. The shadow sides of these archetypes are found in the misuse of the power and knowledge that comes through them. Seduction and trickery brought about through magic and wizardry play on the desires of many people to transform their lives. Okay, so what I want to do here, again, is just share with you a couple of other little examples of archetypes, just so you get an idea of how archetypes can have can be a light-seeing archetype, but also have the shadow, and can be a shadow archetype that also has the light aspect of it. And this is the core of what we're sort of doing, is we're bringing out the light of our archetypes, of our shadow side, and you know, keeping it in that space. So even if it is a light archetype, we have to be aware that there is a shadow to that. So it's keeping us on course, but also the shadow archetype, which is the more negative archetype, also has a light one. So even if you are doing this course and you come up with an archetype that doesn't seem very nice or is quite negative, know that there is a light side to that archetype also. So this work is so important, is because it can be flipped. It's giving you that knowledge to know that you can change that into a light aspect of yourself. So one of the examples that I'm going to use for a light sounding, positive sounding archetype that does have a shadow is the knight. So the knight archetype is primarily associated with like chivalry, courtly romance, protection of the princess, and going to battle only for honourable causes. The knight serves as king or lord, and so this archetype has spiritual overtones as well as services of devotion, loyalty, and self-sacrifice are the knight's great virtues, along with a natural ability to sort of get things done. So a shadow of the knight would be the black knight, donning dark armor and riding a black horse represents the shadow characteristics of this archetype, especially the absence of honor and chivalry. Somewhat like the warrior, the shadow knight manifests as loyalty to a questionable ruler or principle. In its negative aspect, the knight can also, like the rescuer, fall into a pattern of saving others but ignoring his own needs. A true knight, like the mystic, walks the fine line between self-sacrifice and self-neglect. So I have listed some other archetypes in there as well, and that's something that we're going to get into a lot more within the course. So a shadow aspect of an archetype with a light archetype, I've chosen to use the gambler. The gambler is a risk taker who plays the odds. Typically, the archetype has far more aspects than are commonly considered, including not just card sharks and racetrack gamblers, but also drug addicts, entrepreneurs, and day traders. The gambler is also active in the psyche of people who take risks in politics and other social activities that amount to gambling with one's reputation. From an energetic perspective, gambling is an attempt to outrun the speed at which ordinary change happens. Acquiring one throw of the dice or by winning the lottery in a spectacular experience, not only because of the money, but because of the experience of the compression time of trying to outrun the odds is a psychic lock of the gambler within a person's psyche. You can evaluate your relationship to the shadow gambler according to whether you have a compulsion. So some people who are obsessed with winning lotteries and striking it rich at the casino tables or in get-rich-quick and pyramid schemes may spend relatively little money compared to professional gamblers, but their focus on finding ways to beat the odds is a central part of their life. A related form of gambling may affect the way you are focused on looking for lucky breaks in life and relationships rather than doing the hard work needed to make them succeed. But the positive aspect of this archetype manifests in the following, manifesting in following your hunches and following your instincts, your intuition, and it is believed it's a belief in one's intuition, even if in the face of sort of universal doubt. From a business venture, from business ventures to scientific research, hunches often yield universally. So, for instance, many entrepreneurs more than often go on to support charities, organisations, sponsorships, mentorships, and helping humanity on a larger scale than just supporting their own interests. So, there's just a little bit more on archetypes and just a description of sort of two different types, one being a very light-sided one and one being a very shadow-sided one, but each having its direct opposite. And I actually think the next slide actually goes into a little bit of that as well, but I thought it would be handy just for you guys just to have a couple more examples to work with, so you could sort of start throwing around some ideas of archetypes that you think are sort of floating around yourself, other people have. And just keep in mind as well, there's literally millions of different archetypes, sort of any sort of, I guess you could kind of call them stereotypes as well, that you can think of is an archetype. So any sort of sort of title that has an explanation for its behavior would be an archetype. So I'll leave you with that to work with. Showing my screen. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see that. I keep saying hopefully you guys can see that because it just didn't work last time. Okay, so I've gone over that one. So, okay, so why they work well together, and I kind of touched on this a little bit when I went over the different types of archetypes with you just then, but just to recap, all archetypes, whether they seem positive or negative, both have their opposite counterparts. This is where shadow work comes into play. Even the nicest sounding archetypes has a shadow side, just as a shadow archetype has a light side. Doing shadow work with archetypes, you're able to work with a shadow aspect and know that you can shift that into a light aspect. Similarly, being aware that light aspects also have a shadow aspect, and being able to identify how not to slip into the shadow, keeping that archetype in its light form and yourself connected to your higher self and purpose. This allows you to be truthful and brutally honest with yourself during the process of shadow work. The importance of preparation work before the course. So pretty much the importance of why I've decided to do this webinar beforehand, before the actual course, before I start doing this course with you guys, before we start diving deep into archetypes and looking at our shadow. During our course, change will happen very fast with this type of work. We are not always comfortable with change happening fast, so it's important you are mentally prepared before the course. By being mentally prepared for the course, you will already begin to change the way you think and feel. You will become more in tune with your emotional body. Your physical body will be more accepting to the changes in your mental and emotional bodies, helping you to avoid becoming sick and by the scope curve of the course. So, mindset exercises. So what I'll be doing is each week until the starting day, I will be setting a new exercise for you to do. This will help you to slowly start changing the way you see things and integrate new ideas, behaviours and emotions into your everyday life. These exercises are designed to help you become more aware of yourself and patterns in your everyday life, preparing you to be more open, honest and mindful within the course. The exercises will help you to be able to identify with your shadow and different archetypes with more ease than if you were not to do any preparation work at all. By registering, you will be automatically sent weekly updates and instructions on these exercises. So this week's preparation mindset exercise. So what I want you to do is to become an observer in your own life. Observe your routines. What routines are a daily thing in your life at this moment in time? I want you to observe your emotions. What are you feeling throughout the day, and what are you feeling, when are you feeling highs or lows? Is there a sort of a daily pattern here? Observe, how is your physical body feeling? Are you drained, energized, tired, wide awake, etc.? Again, observing if there's a daily pattern here, and observing the time that sort of may occur during these days, that these physical feelings may feel and happen during the day. Observe your reactions. How are you reacting to everyday situations? How are you reacting to good things and not so good things? Observe your interactions. How do you interact with other people? How are they interacting with you? How are you interacting with yourself? So these are the things that I want you to sort of absorb and observe during the week, okay? So it's an exercise in being mindful in your own life. It's an exercise in being an observer in your own life, which a lot of us don't do. We observe other people's lives, but we don't do enough observation in our own lives. And this exercise actually is very important to the upcoming course. So I really do encourage you to do this exercise because it will help you so very much within the course. So just an important little note, I just want you to be an observer in your life. I don't want you to change things up unless it's what you would normally do. So unless you're sort of used to this practice of observing your own self and your own life and then changing things as you go along. But if you don't usually do this, please don't start at the moment. I just want you to be the observer. So because what you are doing, you're gathering information at this point, I would recommend you write that down if that's sort of not a viable thing that you're able to do. Just reflect back on your day and write them down at the end of each day. This will make it easier for the next mindset exercise. Okay, so we've discussed this a little bit already because Gabrielle, obviously, my special guest Gabrielle Morrison, has jumped on at the start of this webinar. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of stuff myself. So your diet in preparation to the course, when your mind and thought processes undergo a transformation, your physical body follows. By making some changes in your eating habits and diet, it can make a huge difference in how your physical body reacts to the mental and emotional changes that will occur. So one thing I want to stress is to abstain from eating meat for at least 3 days before the start of the course. The reason for this is when eating meat, we are also taking in the energy of fear that the animal had when it was being slaughtered. Because this course can address some of your deepest, darkest secrets and cause you to confront parts of yourself you have denied for so long. You want to eliminate any resistance to this process. A good way to stop the resistance is to avoid taking on energy or fear that does not belong to you. And a lot of that is from food. So if you missed Gabrielle's presentation on your diet and some of the wonderful offers that she's actually offered to you guys out there, watch the replay because she does pop on very quickly and goes through a few things there for you. And also you will be able to contact Gabrielle for some links that I provide, which will be links to her website. She has a fan page on Facebook where she's constantly giving away value on health and diet. And it's something that I really like you guys to check out, not only just take advantage of those offers that she's offered you as well. I know that I'll be doing them. Okay, so we've done that. So when is the course? The course will be a 4-part online course. There will be a weekly interactive webinar for 4 weeks. So I'm splitting this course up into 4 parts, and we will be doing that over a 4-week period. The course will start on Tuesday, the 5th of April. I'm just going to check that, make sure that's right. Yep, that's right. So it's 3 weeks away, guys. And that's going to be on the Tuesday with the following sections every Tuesday after. Now, as far as I can tell, Tuesday is a good day for people. And that means it's also 8 p.m. on Monday night for people in America. I will talk to you guys out there and make sure that this is a majority of a good time for you out there. But for now, we're just going to say we'll do it on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Australian Western Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So each section will go for an hour to an hour and a half, and that leaves you with a week to identify, integrate, and implement the information into your life. I have purposely structured the course this way to give you the time needed to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically for the course beforehand and during. So this is the reason, guys, that we're doing this preparation and information webinar is to just give you a little glimpse of what we're going to be jumping into within the course, Shadows into Light. Sort of get you set up for the experience of doing shadow work and working with archetypes by having you do these exercises and these mindset exercises, by looking at your health. It really is going to help you prepare your body, prepare your mental body and your emotional body for the course, so that you're just really in the right place to really get deep and personal with yourself. When I first did this course myself, I'll just say that I've got the screen sharing as I'm talking. When I did this course myself, I've done it a couple of times throughout my lifetime. And the first time that I actually did do this course, I did no preparation work beforehand. And it was very intense. I probably lied to myself a lot within that, because I wasn't willing to be honest with myself, because I wasn't ready at that stage to look at parts of my shadow, parts of myself that I denied and pushed down for so long, parts that were painful to look at, and very intense sort of feelings and emotions that are sort of dealt with as well. So I went through it, and I did find that it was very, very helpful, and it did keep me on track with a lot of things, and then give me a new perspective on my life, as well as helping me to understand other people around me. But it was a rough experience. When I did it again a few years later, I actually did the preparation work, which was the mindset exercises, and really looking at my diet and exercising myself, actually. So when I did that, and then I went into the course for the second time, it was a lot easier, because I'd already prepared my mind for these changes to sort of occur, and I was already expanding my consciousness to receive information from my subconsciousness. So it was still an intense experience, but it wasn't as intense, and it was actually more enjoyable, and I found it more enlightening, because I was more honest with myself. I was prepared to be more, pardon me, I was prepared to be more honest with myself, which gave me a deeper perspective. So that's why we're doing it this way, guys, is so that you don't have that rough experience that I first had when I did it the first time. I want you guys to have a really smooth transition with this, and it being a sort of a less intensive experience than what it would be is if you did do the preparation work and look at some of the other things in your life, like diet, and if you're exercising and things like that. So yeah, I hope you guys will do that exercise throughout the week, and just be really sort of mindful of how you go about everyday things, your interactions, and your feelings and your emotions. And I just want you to observe it, though. That's one of the main things with this exercise. Is if you know anything about quantum physics, you know about being the observer. And so this is what I want you to do in your life, is I want you to be the observer in your own life. So not affecting your life in any way, just carrying on your life as you would in every normal day if you hadn't been put to this exercise. Pardon me, I'm getting a cough from being in Bali and smoke in the air. So yeah, just being the observer. So just stepping back whenever you can, whenever you think of it, and sort of looking at what's going on right now, looking at how you're acting right now, looking at how you're feeling right now, how you're interacting with others, how you're interacting with yourself, all of that, all of what I said before. So just observing it. I don't know how much more I can stress that, but just observe. Don't change anything. Just observe it. Write it down at night. If you can possibly do it during that day, and throughout the day, that would be great, because you're going to have things fresh in your mind, and it's going to keep you in that observer position more actively throughout the day, because you're constantly observing and writing things down, observing, writing things down, observing. So it keeps you in the observer position rather than back into yourself, so to speak. So obviously, if you can't do that due to work, being with kids, all the above, if you can just spend a little bit of time at night just writing down some of the big things that have happened in your life that have stuck out to you, and just write them down. So that's basically it, guys. Just a little bit of information there about what's going to be done in the workshop, how we're going to be dealing with shadow work, what is shadow work, what is archetypes, and how they're going to work together, examples of that. Addressing the diet issue, addressing some of the mindset issues that we're going to go through, not issues, but some of the mindset exercises that we're going to go through, and the date and time that the actual course is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I will send those of you guys who've registered for this, I will be sending you guys updates to do with the mindset exercises, reminders of to do it, and reminders of the future mindset exercises that I will be setting for you. And guys, this really is important. I want you to do this course, and for you to have a great experience with this course. I'd like you to do these exercises, and you know, pay attention to your diet and take up these offers that Gabrielle Morrison has, from Glowing with Health, has offered you, because she will be a great assist with you within your diet and exercise. So yeah, I guess that's it. I did have a Q&A section, but once again I forgot it was it's a Google Hangout. So I know that if you're on my page that I put the link out for the live webinar, there is a Facebook comments and questions section. So if you have any comments or you do have any questions, then please put them in there, and I will definitely get around to them and answer them as best of my ability. And for those of you who want to take Gabrielle up on the offer, let me know and I will pass them definitely on to Gabrielle and give you guys those links so you can access them. And as I said, with the 3 people that are going to be eligible for the 12-day cleanse, and one thing that Gabrielle didn't mention is this 12-day cleanse is actually a paid product that she offers as part of her business. And I believe it's like a $99 cleanse or something like that. For other people who want to do the 12-day cleanse, who are really committed to their diet, I know she's offering it for $27 at a discounted price, but there is that first 3 people that sort of comment on that will get that for free also. So one of those places is already taken, so that leaves 2 more spaces. So just write a comment in the box there. You can go to my page, write a comment on my page, and I will connect you with Gabrielle on that. Now I know also if you're not subscribed, you can still subscribe on the page that you're watching, and that way it will just keep you in touch with what's going on within the course, and you know, any videos that I do on the mindset exercises, or any further information that I have to give you on the upcoming event, Shadow Work with Archetypes, Shadows into Light. And so with that, beautiful people, I will leave you. Thank you very much if you're watching me live, and if you're watching the replay, I also appreciate that very much as well. Yeah, okay then. Thank you very much, Namaste, and blessings to all.